Hello, my friends. I'm going to share with you a new discovery, fractal vibrations. Fractal vibrations are something we've kind of noticed before, but it's become really clear, like, oh my God, look at this thing. It's, staring you right in the face. This is really powerful. So let's learn about this new concept of fractal vibrations. This is my first time to present this publicly. To explain what a fractal vibration is, I'm going to show you an example. I think just seeing an example is the fastest and clearest way to understand it. And a fractal vibration is built on some vibration. Some vibrations become fractal. In Albert Einstein's chart, 19 vibe is fractal. It has this additional quality of being fractal. Most vibrations are not fractal. Every once in a while, I'm not sure exactly what percent, it's not that often, you see a clear fractal vibration. Let's look at Albert Einstein's, and then we're going to look at another famous person's fractal vibration. We'll see two examples. There's a lot to learn here. This is going to take some time to go over. But let's dig in and see what a fractal vibration is. So here's Albert Einstein's birth chart. And here is his 19 vibration chart, also known as 19th harmonic. And there is a clear aspect pattern. There's Sun and Mars are conjunct with a 5-degree orb. Their opposition Mercury, and these three planets, Sun, Mars, and Mercury, are making trines and sextiles to Neptune. So there's a 4-planet pattern. All of the aspects are within orb. None of them is missing, so it's a solid pattern of Sun, Mars, Mercury, and Neptune. There's also some other trines. Saturn is trine Venus and Pluto. The Saturn trine Pluto is very tight. Like, whoa, 11-minute orb. That one's extremely tight. The Mercury sextile Neptune, also very tight with a 10-minute orb. So you see these aspects. Now, we see a lot of trine aspects. Here's the idea of the fractal. You take a trine of a trine. That's what a fractal is. The formula for a fractal involves taking some math function, basic arithmetic, and you apply that repeatedly to itself. They call it iterative. You repeat this process. So here we take a trine. Okay, Saturn's trine Pluto, Mars is trine Neptune. We have trines. We just take a trine of a trine. We take 1/3 of 1/3, which is 1/9. It's a novile. Nothing new there. People have known about noviles for a long time. Ninths of a circle. Now what happens is, if we take a trine of, say, the Saturn trine Pluto, can we take this trine aspect and split it into thirds? So the Saturn trine Pluto has split, I don't know if split's the best word, it's divided the circle into 1/3. You've got a whole circle, take 1/3 of it. Now you take that 1/3 and you take 1/3 of it. Very, very simple. It's, like I said before, it's something we kind of noticed before, but now we're realizing, whoa, this means that this energy is extending itself in a clear way into higher vibrations. It's a configuration, we call it in chaos theory, self-similar. There's this self-similarity as you move up. You have trines, then you take the trine of a trine, and it's very, very powerful because it operates from the higher vibrations to the lower vibrations with a consistent effect, giving a clear, strong message. This is our theory. In looking at charts, it makes sense. We've noticed this kind of thing before. In the future, we'll go through databases to confirm the idea and further develop it. But before you can confirm an idea, you have to have an idea. So this is the new awareness that, wow, we've noticed this before. We need to really find these fractal configurations in people's charts, they appear to be extremely powerful. Okay, now, is there a point between, say, Saturn and Pluto, because it's a very strong trine from 19.5 Gemini to about 19.5 to 20 Aquarius. If I go 40 degrees from Pluto, I would go 19 Aquarius, 19 Pisces, 29.5 Pisces, there it is. Neptune is exactly, well, very tightly, almost exact, 1/9 from Pluto and 2/9 from Saturn. You probably noticed these kinds of patterns before. What we're recognizing is they're very, very powerful. Now, in the case of Einstein, the reason I'm using his chart is because the fractal pattern for him is very interesting. It's more than just Neptune being at this thirds of a third, being 1/9 from Pluto and 2/9 from Saturn. What's also happening, let's take them from the other trine, the Sun of Mars trine Neptune. The Mars trine Neptune is the tighter one. Looks like it's about a 2-degree orb, not super powerful, about 2-degree orb. If I go, say, 1/9 before Neptune, if I go 30 degrees early, that would be 29 Aquarius, plus another 10, 19 Aquarius. So Pluto is at that point, thirds of a thirds between Sun and Neptune. So it happens twice, and it actually connects the two trines together. So instead of having Mars trine Neptune as one aspect and Saturn trine Pluto as another aspect, just crisscrossing each other in the chart, they're actually all in thirds of thirds. They're actually all in 9ths of each other. I'm going to draw in the aspect lines to make it concrete. Okay, all I'm saying is this. And let's get back to basics, because this can build up very quickly. All I'm saying is, if you see a trine in a chart, I happen to be not in a natal chart, but a 19 vibration chart. I see trines. Yeah, cool. If other planets are making trines of trines, and there's 9ths to that, it's very, very cool. It's really powerful, because that energy is working at the trine level, and then you go up to triple that vibration, and it's getting connected again. So it's a self-similar pattern. It's exactly what fractals are all about, repeating at higher and higher levels. And in this case, very unusual case of Albert Einstein's 19 vibration, it's going to take two trines and connect them together, because they're actually all in 9ths. Let me draw the lines in. That's why I'm using him as an example, because it's stronger than just the usual mild thing, and it fits his life. I think it has something to do with E=mc², these discoveries. And remember, 19 vibrations about pattern recognition. Okay, getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's draw these lines in, these thirds of thirds, or 9ths of a circle, and see what it does to these two trines. I'm going to right click. I'm in this Sirius software. You can do a similar thing with other high level commercial software. We're going to go into the aspects, and I'm going to draw in the aspect lines. So over here is a novile, and I'm going to tell it to draw in an aspect line. And I'm going to tell it the binovile. There's 3 novile aspects. The 40 degrees, which is 1/9, 80 degrees, which is 2/9, and 160 degrees, which is 4/9. The other ones reduce down. There's a 3/9, which becomes 1/3, but the only ones that are specifically 9ths are the 40 degrees, 80 degrees, and 160 degrees, 1/9, 2/9, and 4/9. I'm going to draw in those aspect lines. I'm just telling this software, go ahead and draw in those aspect lines for the 160 degree, and over here I told it for the 80 degree and the 40 degree aspects. Save my results. I have this blue color selected, And you see it's tied them all together. Saturn to Neptune, that's the 2/9. Neptune, let me just click OK, all the way through. Okay, let me say that again. Saturn to Neptune, that's 2/9, it's 80 degrees. Neptune to Pluto is 40 degrees. That 40 plus 80 is the 120. Notice that this configuration extremely strong. All the lines are very, very thick. The thicker they are, the more exact the aspects. So this is extremely tight. And then weaker, we know it's weak because the lines are thinner. Pluto to Mars has this thin blue line, means it's within orb of the orbs we use in vibrational astrology, but just weakly, just barely. And then if we follow Mars back to Saturn, there's another thin blue line. See that thin blue line? So all of the planets are connected. And you see this crisscross pattern. These trines and these trines crisscrossing, and this isosceles trapezoid shape connecting all four. So in this case, when we add the thirds of the thirds, instead of having two separate trines of the Venus and Pluto trine Saturn, and the Uranus and Neptune trine Mars, that's 6 planets, some of them weaker. Venus is weaker and Uranus is weaker. 4 planets tightly aspected, or pretty tightly aspected, are all brought together. So they're actually all integrated in a larger pattern. Basic rule we use in vibrational astrology: the larger the pattern and the smaller the orbs, the more important it is. So without seeing these thirds of thirds, these ninths, this 19 vibration chart is not as important. It doesn't have as many things connected together. It's a larger pattern, and it's a fractal pattern. Okay, we don't normally draw in these lines. Well, I'll leave them there for now. Later on, I'll remove them. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. Okay. So here it's just in words. If you want to pause the video and read this, this is what I just explained. We made the noviles visible in the wheel, and we saw how Neptune divides Saturn, Pluto into thirds, and Pluto divided Mars trine Neptune in thirds, all connecting them together. So here's our definition. What is a fractal vibration? Now that you've seen an example of it, now I'll give a definition. Fractal vibration, or fractal vibrations, you can do it singular or plural. It's actually more than one vibration involved. So sometimes we say plural. The fractal vibrations are a series of astrological vibrations that involve multiplying a vibration repeatedly by the same number to reveal additional layers of the original planetary configuration. Vibration means like thirds. So we take a series of vibrations. We have thirds in Einstein's 19 vibration chart, and then we take thirds of the thirds, repeating the same number, the 3, tripling, and it reveals additional layers of the original configuration. So going back to the wheel, now let me remove those blue lines. Let's go back here and remove them. So I'm going to go over here and remove these novile and binovile and the quad novile. Oh no, I don't need to remove, oops, I just need to, let me go back here. I didn't need to remove the aspect. I just need to remove the aspect line. That way it's still over here in the grid. Let me just set it back to the way it was. No aspect line, no aspect line. Let me drag this over here so you can see what I'm doing. A lot of that was off the screen. Sorry about that. I'm just changing this back to no aspect line, and the quad novile, no aspect line. And I restored things back. Click OK, OK, OK. There's our normal wheel showing the usual kinds of aspects astrologers use. Again, we have the Sun-Mars conjunction, opposition Mercury, making trines and sextiles to Neptune. And this other trine looks completely separate, but it's not. When we add the noviles, the thirds of the thirds, we saw that they were all connected together, making a larger planetary configuration. Okay, back to the PowerPoint. So there's our definition of what a fractal vibration is. A series of vibrations that involve multiplying a vibration repeatedly by the same number. So you have 19, you multiply by 3. Then you take that 19 times 3, you multiply by 3 again. Now, this just is a slide that already says what I've told you, but this bottom paragraph is important, which is, in order for you to understand what a fractal vibration is, what I did here, let's go back to the chart wheel, is we drew in the trines, we drew in the noviles, but the way we do it in practice is we don't have to customize and add those aspect lines in and out. There's a simpler, easier, more direct way of doing it, which is the vibrational chart. Take 19 multiplied by 3. 19 times 3 happens to be 57. So in the 57 vibration chart, the 19 times 3 chart, these trines collapse. You might say they collapse into conjunctions. If you're not very familiar with harmonic astrology or vibrational astrology, I have a whole series of videos that explains how harmonic charts work and what I mean by collapse. If you multiply by 3, the trines become conjunctions. And then we multiply by 3 again. So all you have to do is take a vibration, like say 19, multiply by 3, and then multiply by 3 again. And if you see the same planets involved, or some of the same planets, sometimes not all of them, and new planets entering in, it means the basic planetary configuration is continuing as you multiply by 3s. Okay, that multiplying by 3, they're overtones. They're giving soul, they're giving depth, they're giving quality to the meaning of that 19. And if you keep multiplying by 3 and getting strong planetary configurations, you have a fractal vibration, and it is powerful because it means that energy is working from the basic, lower vibration level all the way up in these self-similar patterns. Okay, let's get back to our PowerPoint, and we'll look at this this fractal vibration in Einstein's chart. So what we see here, to summarize, this little table in the middle of this slide, the 19 times 3, the 19 times 3 times 3. So in other words, this is the 19 vibe, the 57 vibe, and the 171 vibe. We'll look at, I'm going to show you these vibrational charts, and what we're going to see is that in all 3 of these vibrational charts, the 19 times 3, and the 19 times 3 times 3, we're going to see 4 planets involved in a planetary configuration. And the same planets being repeated at each level. So let's look at it. Going back to the Sirius software, there's the 19 vibe with the Sun, Mars, Mercury, Neptune. It has different colors. It has the hard aspects in red, the soft aspects in green. When we multiply by 3, and we get to 57, now remember, it's Sun, Mercury, Mars, Neptune. When we multiply by 3, we see the Sun, Mercury, Mars, Neptune. Only 3 of the planets remain. The Sun, which was making a weaker aspect, has moved out of the configuration. But Mars and Neptune are still opposition Mercury. This is a very important point. very often only some of the planets continue at the overtone level, at the higher level. In this case, 3 of the 4 planets continue at a higher level, and then it gets new trines and sextiles to the Saturn and Pluto. It brings in 2 new planets and removes 1 old planet. And in fact, the Saturn and Pluto are not within orb of Mars. So what happens in terms of a 4-planet pattern is only the Mercury and Neptune survive, you might say, continue solid and strong in the 57 vibe, and it brings in 2 new planets. So what happens in a fractal vibration is some of the planets, you want typically at least 2 of the planets in that planetary configuration exist at the next level. And you're not losing a lot of planets. So if you're losing some, you're gaining others to replace them. Why are you losing some? Because the orbs become 3 times bigger. When we multiply 19 times 3 to get 57, the orbs become 3 times bigger, and it's moved some of them out of orb. So let's look at it again. 19 vibe, you have a Sun, Mercury, Mars, Neptune. Oppositions, trines, and sextiles. You multiply by 3, same exact thing. Opposition with trines and sextiles, 2 of the same planets, Mercury, Neptune, and 2 new ones, Saturn, Pluto. That's the Saturn, Pluto. That was a separate trine. If we go back to 19 vibe, the Saturn, Pluto is a separate trine from the rest, from the other planetary configuration. When we go up to 57 vibe, Saturn and Pluto become tightly connected to Mercury, Neptune. So in practice, we do not draw on those aspect lines. I only did that for teaching purposes, to appreciate what a fractal vibration is. What we do is this. To repeat, if you see a strong trine in any chart, you can multiply by 3. That trine will turn into a conjunction and see if additional planets join the configuration. And that's what happens here. The tight Saturn-Pluto trine and the Mars trine Neptune, those 2 connect at the 19 times 3 level, making another trines and sextiles. And now the lines look thicker. Look how thick they are. Like this is a really tighter configuration. So we have a tighter configuration at 57 than we do at 19. The lines are thicker. All of the lines are thick. The 2 trine lines are thick. 2 sextile lines are thick. The opposition line is thick. In 19 vibration, they're just not quite as solid. The Mars trine Neptune is not as thick as what we see in 57. So this is a clear fractal pattern. 2 of the 4 planets are now connected to 2 other planets, continuing the Mercury and Neptune into that next level, connecting with Saturn and Pluto. Now let's trine it again. 57 times 3, if you do that on a calculator, is 171. And now we have a Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto. And there's the Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, all in red. So it's made the pattern look simpler. The trines become conjunctions, the sextiles become oppositions, all of the lines are thick. We are seeing Jupiter getting picked up. We're seeing aspect lines from 3 of the 4 planets to Jupiter in these dashed lines. So there are some additional things, and also Uranus coming in, aspecting 2 of the planets. So we're seeing some other planets get involved, and we're also seeing that the configuration is extremely simple and extremely tight. I mean, all the lines are so thick, this thing spreads only 2 degrees. Wow. So this extremely tight planetary configuration has components in the lower fractal levels, because 171 is 19 times 3 times 3. If we remove one of the 3's and we just do 19 times 3, we see a strong pattern. So we're seeing this self-repeating pattern. That's the fractal vibration for Albert Einstein. Now, by the way, you can notice something else. If we double this vibration, the 4 planets would all be conjunct, because if I multiply 171 times 2, they will all, the oppositions will turn into conjunctions. Let me show that to you. That would be the 342 vibration. 171 times 2 is 342. Now we see it as a 4-planet conjunction. Neptune, Saturn, Mercury, Pluto. Just wanted to mention that. But right now we've been talking about only multiplying by 3 times 3 times 3. I'm going to introduce some more ideas that I'm leading into. Okay, let's get back to our PowerPoint. Okay, so this is saying that when we went to the 19 times 3 times 3, 171, there's that Mercury opposition Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. Same 4 planets. The same orb. Also, if you look at the midpoint structures in the 171 vibe, here's the midpoint structures of the 171 vibe. Let me zoom this in so it's easier to read. You see Mercury's at Sun, Venus. Mercury's at the Sun, Venus midpoint, half a degree. Saturn's at the Sun, Venus midpoint, a little more than half a degree. Neptune's at the Sun, Venus midpoint, about 1 degree. Pluto's at the Sun, Venus midpoint, about 1 degree. All 4 planets, let's look at that wheel. All 4 of these planets are at the Sun, Venus midpoint. Just makes it a little bit stronger. It's a larger configuration. Wow, 4 planets at the same midpoint structure, and they're all within 2 degrees, these 4 planets. It's a very powerful configuration. So we're seeing that as we take 19 and we multiply by 3 again, not only is a planetary configuration involving some of the same planets being retained, but it's getting stronger and picking up midpoint structures. It's become very simple as all hard aspects. Okay, so it's a clear fractal pattern. Okay, back to the PowerPoint. Now, as I just said, we can multiply 171 times 2, get 342, all the planets are conjunct. And we just saw that. They're all conjunct, and they're all within 4 degrees. Here it is, 342. Neptune's at 22 Pisces. Saturn, Mercury, Pluto's at 26 Pisces. Early 22 to early 26 Pisces, 4 degrees. So the orbs have doubled. There it is. I'm just making an observation which is going to lead to another point, which is this. Another thing about fractal vibrations is that you can alternate between multiplying by 3 and 2. So we call that an alternating vibration. Let me show that in the next slide. Okay, skipped a few slides. I want to get to this point of an alternating fractal vibration. When we multiply 171 by 2 instead of 3, so we multiply 19 times 3, and then we multiply by 3 again. If you multiply by a 2 instead of a 3, you're still multiplying by a number that does not change the quality of the vibration in a very strong way. The numbers 2 and 3 don't change the color of the vibration. When you multiply by 2, it gives it more motivation, more drive. When you multiply by 3, it gives it more desire to harmonize. The 3s are trying to harmonize that energy. The 2s are trying to make that energy move, do something, go somewhere, achieve something, change something. But the quality of the vibration does not change a lot. If you multiply 19 times 5, it's like two different ingredients in a recipe, or it's like two different instruments, or two different things combining together. When you multiply by 2 and 3, the 2 makes it, you might say, more dynamic. The 3 makes it more seeking harmony without changing the quality. So you can't, bottom line is this, you can alternate by multiplying between 2 and 3. And we call that an alternating fractal vibe. Okay, so there are two kinds of fractal vibrations. I'm going to stop here for the end of part 1 in a series of videos about fractal vibes. We've covered a lot of material. If your head is spinning a little bit, just watch this video again. It's all simple. It's just a lot of new ideas. Let me repeat this final point for this part 1 of this series. Typically, not necessarily, but typically in a fractal vibration, or at least what we've been doing so far, and in the future maybe it'll change, but so far what we've been doing most often is multiplying a vibration by 2 or 3, or 2 times 2, which is 4. We're multiplying it by 2, 3, or 4. Those are the most obvious overtones that don't change the quality. If you see the same planets involved, when you multiply by 3, the same planets in that planetary configuration, at least 2 of them, are involved in another large planetary configuration. When you multiply by 2 or 3, you have a fractal vibration. You have a vibration that's not only strong right there at 19, but it's strong at 19 times 3. In Einstein's case, it's strong at 171. There's a big difference between 19 and 171. Some of those planets are staying connected, bringing in some new planets, staying strong, building up. Einstein has an extremely powerful 19 times 3 fractal vibration. Let me say that again. Albert Einstein has a very strong, extremely strong 19 times 3 fractal vibration. You should now be able to understand that. Fractal vibration means that 19 times 3, the times 3 part, can get repeated. So when we say fractal vibration, it just means that last number, you can keep multiplying it. 19 times 3, and then at least one more time. And 19 times 3 times 3. Maybe you can even do it again. But it qualifies to be a fractal vibration if you can just do it twice. You multiply by 3, strong pattern. Multiply by 3 again, still a strong pattern with at least 2 of the same planets. Then you have a fractal vibration. If we multiply by 2 to go up to 342, that's an alternating fractal vibration. So if we stop at 171, let's go back to this table. If we stop here at 171, we've taken 19, multiplied it by 3, multiplied by 3 again, that's a fractal vibration. If we do one more step and multiply by 2, why do we want to multiply by 2? Because when you look at his 171 vibration, you see this huge opposition. You might want to just remove that opposition. You just do. And if you do that, you'll have a 342 vibration with those 4 planets conjunct. And if you do that, you now have an alternating fractal vibration. So you can say Einstein has a 19 times 3 fractal vibration. That's the 19 times 3, and 19 times 3 times 3. You can also say that he has a 19 alternating fractal vibration. Alternating means you've used 2s and 3s. That would take us up to 342. An interesting thing when you look at this and the 342 vibration, the order of the planets is Neptune, Saturn, Mercury, Pluto. if we look at the midpoint structures, I'm not sure. Yeah, you see Mercury's at Saturn, Pluto, 39 minutes. And Saturn's at Mercury, Neptune, under a degree, and also Neptune, Pluto. So the Mercury and Saturn in the middle, the Mercury, Saturn, Pluto is the tightest part of this. The Mercury at Saturn, Pluto is the tightest part of the connection. Neptune's also very strongly involved. Okay, I'm going to stop here. At the beginning of the next video, let's talk about what this means. What does this have to do with Einstein's life? It describes his most important achievements. I'll talk about that at the beginning of the next video. This first video, we got the concepts, what a fractal vibration is, and what an alternating fractal vibration is. I'll review that very quickly in the next video, and then we're going to interpret this. What does it mean in Einstein's life? Then we're going to look at another person, famous person, and really describes what he is known for extremely well. Okay, thank you very much for listening, my friends. Hope to see you in the second video in this series. God bless. Namaste.